back to another episode of the Airtel Edge podcast. My name is Faisal Piper. I'm your host for today. And I'm the PR executive, Airtel Uganda. I have two guests with me here today from the networks team. I'm sure none of you has ever seen them. And I am sure some Airtel employees have also never seen them before. So please introduce yourselves.
I am Patrick Nsubuga, Head of Network Operations, Engineering Department, Airtel Uganda.
Okay.
I'm Habib Magezi, Network Infrastructure Manager, Engineering Department, Airtel Uganda.
So as you can see, I'm with engineers. Yeah. But guys, by the way, I'm also a telecom engineer. Graduated 2019.
Yes.
So we are engineers. But I want to know whether you engineers are making more money than me. Anyway, guys, so we are here to talk about Uganda's independence. And we're making 62 years, finally. And the first thing I want to ask you guys about is, tell me you're Ugandan. Patrick, tell me you're Ugandan without telling me you're Ugandan.
I am born in Uganda.
Uh-huh.
I'm born in Soroti.
Uh-huh.
Studied in Kampala and working with Airtel. So I'm Ugandan.
Okay, let me first see if Habib will get it. Habib, tell me you're Ugandan without telling me you're Ugandan.
I reach late for parties.
Thank you. Patrick, Tuliba Generation Z. Okay, so what I meant by tell me you're Ugandan is tell me just one trait you know about Ugandans. Yeah.
Okay. Ugandans like doing things in the last minute.
Last minute, eh?
For example, paying school fees. Everybody rushes in the last weekend and you get traffic jam all over places, shopping and things like that. That is typical of Uganda.
Until it's time to get a visa. Because I've never seen a Ugandan late for a visa appointment.
That's when life hits hard.
They call you, they tell you tomorrow, show up for your American visa interview. My G, my auntie was there 10 hours earlier. We were there at 6 a.m.
Possibly should have been waiting for years.
Do you know what time the interview was? 2 p.m. Mm-hmm. We went there at 6 a.m. We even had our porridge. We had food. Because her thought was we shouldn't leave the car because if we leave, they might call her. Because she's not in the car. Yet they have told her it's 2 p.m.
Yeah. She didn't want to miss that appointment.
Exactly. And let me just ask something else. What's the one thing you're proud of when it comes to Uganda?
I'm proud of being in the industry, telecommunications industry, which was not the thing in the past.
Uh-huh.
With the development of mobile telecommunication networks,
okay,
the sector was privatized and gave us opportunity to work in that liberalized environment.
What a calculated answer. Habib, what are you proud of?
Our weather, our food. I think that's different compared to some other countries.
Okay. You're married to a Ugandan.
I'm married to a Ugandan.
You're married to a Ugandan. How are you not proud of our women, you guys? I'm the only person who's not married.
You said one thing, so among others, that can also be. I'm
the only one who's not married here. To the single ladies watching, I'm the only one who's not married here, and I am proud of Ugandan women. And I feel like I'm also going to go your way. So after the show, you'll just share some tips. I don't know whether cutting my hair is involved.
Possibly.
Any of us can do.
Okay, so we are actually, I think by the time the viewers watch this, we will not have yet celebrated our Independence Day celebrations. But I know for this specific event, we now have, live TV, we have TikTokers, people are going to stream it, people are going to YouTube it, tweeting, Facebook, you name it. Like, technology has really advanced. But I want us to go back to that day in 1962 when we actually attained independence. Yeah. Patrick and Habib, I want you guys to just paint for me a picture. In fact, first of all, before we do that, I want to know what was your first what was your first meeting? I won't say meeting, but what was your first experience with a phone? Like, when was the first time you actually used a phone? And what did you use it for? Or rather, how was the phone then?
First time I used the phone is when I was going to join university, and I needed to call my uncle who was working in Jinja.
Okay.
And I needed to tell him that I would be traveling to Kampala, but I would have a stopover
In Jinja.
in Jinja.
So you were coming from Soroti.
Yes. So I had to call to his office number. Unfortunately, he was not even in the office. I left the message, and that was it. So on the day of travel, I just traveled, not knowing whether he got my message or not.
Which year was this?
This was 1990.
Wow, I hasn't even born yet. Habib, when was your first experience with the phone?
My first experience with the phone was at school. That's in boarding school. Possibly borrowing a teacher's phone to call home to remind them that it was visitation the next Sunday.
Okay.
Yes.
What about your first experience with internet on the phone?
Internet on the phone was when I was already employed. By then it was Airtel. And we launched what we used to call data service around about 2000 and maybe 2002 there.
Wow.
But it was not the internet we have today.
Definitely.
Yes.
Could you browse? Could you go on the internet on the phone and see what's happening in the US?
Not really, but you could maybe browse, but go to specific, say, website, but limited, very slow speeds, because the handsets, the phones by then, were not to the level we are today.
And we had, I think, 2.5G then, GPRS.
It was called
It was not
GPRS.
doing a lot, yes.
Okay.
Compared today.
I think my first experience was about the same time because I had an auntie, she used to work for the UN. So actually, my first experience with a phone was when I was probably maybe 10, P6 around there. My grandma was the DEO of Hoima, District Education Officer. DEO, yes, District Education Officer. So she had those big Ericsson phones. The big Ericsson phone with a green button, like when you press a button, it lights green. Yeah. Then my first experience with data was WAP. I don't even remember properly, but I know the application was called WAP, W-A-P.
WAP, yes.
And I could see the Google logo, but that's as much as I could see.
Yes.
And this was, I think, in my either S1 or 2, probably.
Yeah, so that WAP was like a gateway that would provide you the connectivity. So there was back end on the network. We
So
used to
WAP
have
was
a
actually
WAP
not the
server
internet.
that was enabling you to get that connectivity.
Wow.
So you have to have a WAP phone as a user, and on the telecom side,
A WAP
there was
server.
a WAP server. If that WAP server went down, then all of you would not have connectivity.
The Gen Zs watching this, please subscribe. So, okay, now take us back to that day in 1962 when we got independence. Yeah, I understand it happened in Kampala. I mean, today we'll be able to stream the celebrations like live. Like even someone from the US is basically going to see the president, His Excellency, speaking in real time. But in 1962, on the day we got independence, yeah, I want you to just take us back and paint a picture. And also, the people who are in Karamoja, when did they actually understand that we now have independence, we are now free?
Well, if I paint the picture for that day, I would think, okay, what we have today was not there at that time, so things were not real time. I would think by then probably the televisions were available, the black and white, not the colored ones of today. So those who had the means to have the set, you would connect to Uganda television, UTV, and maybe watch. But that would be for the well-to-do at that time, the working class.
Was it live?
No, it wasn't live. It was always recorded and replayed during the news broadcast.
Okay.
The rest of the people, you'd listen maybe on radio. So what I remember, those radios, again, electricity was not in all parts like we have today. You can recharge your radio, and there were those radios which used dry cells.
Yeah.
So you would, if you are lucky and you have the dry cells and it is working, not yet used up, then you would tune the news. Now, the news were also not available throughout the day. You would have to know specific hours. If you are waiting for English, you'd know like English is at 10.
Wow.
Then you would tune. Everybody in the home would sit at that time near that radio to catch the news.
Just
if
to
it was
catch the
BBC, you know, BBC was like 18 hours.
Yeah.
So you'd time that time, run back home, listen to the news. If you missed it, wait for the following day.
I think
And
that's
that was what I imagined could have, because I was not born by then, but
I think
imagine that was the...
I think that's why Ugandans back then used to keep time. Because if you have to
Forced
time
by
the
circumstances.
Habib, can you tell us how the phones were back then on that day in 1962? Were the phones as simple as this one that I can just put in my pocket?
Well, I wasn't there in 1962, but my imagination is, and from history, if you look at every major town in Uganda, there's a post office, or there were some of the big companies or cooperatives that should have the landline phones, the ones that were connected through the copper, network. Good enough, our Uganda Telecom then, which was also, by the way, majorly in East Africa, we had the training ground for telecommunications right at Nakawa.
In Uganda?
In East Africa.
Wow.
Remember, the East African community had different countries were given different things, education, and so we had a telecommunications center here in Uganda. So posts and telecommunications was always one thing bundled together. And if you wanted to make a phone call, well, people used to make phone calls, but they were landlines. Big offices, government offices, and especially post offices. So if you look at our settings, go to Mbale, go to most of the major towns and some small towns, the Kamwenges, the Fort Portos, the Gulus, their post offices, and then they used to be the major center for communication. People used to do a lot of letters, also as a way of communicating, and then majorly landline. So you place a call or to Kampala, you want to reach someone, you leave a message. That person is not available. Or if that person is in a certain office, they work Monday to Friday, so you reach out to them, at that time you're able to get them, leave a message, they call you back the next day. Such kind of communication. But they were not sophisticated devices as we have today, like the mobile phones that people use for accessing internet and all. That was just a simple off-hook, on-hook kind of phone. Where you just dial, and also in the background, in the switching center, this was manual switching done by a human being. Actually. Because then the traffic was low, not like today, because today that is not possible. There are millions of subscribers. Then we're talking about few, phones. Yes.
In fact, even actually the dialing was not like you do today.
No, that's what I want to come to. Let's say Dr. Milton Obote, we've just attained independence, and I want to call my wife. She's in Soroti. Just explain to me how the process is.
So, from where you are initiating that call, it had to be maybe if you are doing from your house. If you are one of those who were lucky that
you have a phone,
the landline is extended to your house. Most public servants who were staying in government houses had that facility. So
that's the one where you pull, it goes 1, 2,
you first
3.
lift the receiver and whatever, put on the ear, and then you begin dialing. You have to know the numbers, and you dial. It was like a half ring.
Yes.
And then that call finally is placed. You have to listen. If the other person picks up and says hello, then now you start the conversation. So you talk to your wife, hello.
But there's no person in the middle to connect you to the other person?
Okay. Now it depends. It depended on the location you are calling. So there were centers, like Habib already explained. There were main centers called exchange centers. So if I'm calling from Kampala, say to Soroti, probably I had to go through Mbale Exchange. Or somewhere there was an exchange.
Ginger Exchange or something.
So you'd call there, and then the operator of that exchange would receive that call, and then you'd talk to them that, can I have number 1 triple this. And then manually, because I had a chance to visit such a facility,
Yeah.
manually in their back office, they would actually pull a cable and try to connect you physically. If you are lucky that it's not busy, that call will go through. If she found it is busy, she had a deck of cards. They would write your number on that card to keep you on wait.
Yeah.
So they would tell you, the line is busy,
Wait.
we'll call you back. So that call at that time is disconnected, but you have to wait in that area. If your call was very, very urgent or important, you have to wait in that office where we have gone to make a call. If you are lucky that you made from your house, then keep around. The moment they find the line free, they would now call you back to connect you to the person you want to talk.
Wow.
And then you pick. So if they are connecting and you're also far, then again, you lose one another. So that's how the exchange was happening.
So basically, it used to take you about 5 minutes to make a phone call.
Even more, depending. If you are lucky, so there are hours where you also had to be mindful. If I go at this time, congestion is there, many people, I may not go through. If I go very early or I go very late, is when I have my person in the house, they have come back from the work, they are doing, there are higher chances of getting that person.
Wow. I imagine how the lines were on Independence Day. Okay, so fast forward to today. Of course, we have technology, we have 5G. I want you to just give us a history lesson of how far we have come. Yeah, because I mean, you've now given us how it works, how it used to work back then. But today we are in 5G, yeah? What are some of the challenges or some of the hurdles, let's say, Airtel has had to overcome to actually get to where we are today on the 5G platform?
Okay, so in terms of the challenges or the hurdles, in terms of technology, first.
Yeah.
From where we came from, 2G, we went to 3G, we came to 4G, and now we are in 5G. So all those are generations in terms of the development. And in each of those development or changes in the generation, we had to upgrade the network. The upgrade involves investment.
Yeah.
So one of the bigger challenges is to have the capital you need.
Yeah.
Telecommunications equipment is not manufactured. We import from outside countries. So we needed that kind of investment in order to import and deploy. And then also in terms of manpower, when the technology comes, you have to train. For us engineers who are going to support, who are going to do the modifications, from time to time, the configurations, the routing, we also had to be trained. Early days, even the training centers were not available in country. We used to be flown out, and all that had to be expenses to the company.
Yeah.
You fly and do training for 5 days, you come back, because it is expensive, and then they have to schedule you again. So every time there was a new development, training had to be part of the component. So all those are challenges, because if you bring the technology, your people are not trained, then you spend a lot of money to maintain the experts who come from abroad and be part of your team to support.
You know what I've just realized? I see why my uncle used to tell me to become an engineer. It's the best job ever. This man was being flown out to For us, we are here. I've never flown out to land.
No.
Because I mean, Airtel provides a landing system. Yes. You have to land from your laptop.
So in today's training sessions, you have content available on YouTube, or they send you the link and the trainer is somewhere in the US. You do Zoom and then he presents to you.
Okay.
But on those early years, that was not available. Internet was very, very slow. Technology had not developed to what it is today. So you had to fly. So you off your desk for some weeks for training and then back to work. But it was also enjoyable because, like me, I benefited. I traveled there. So.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yes.
Let me just pass this off to Habib. Habib, you know how they say, a lot of people say engineering is boring. you know. Engineering's boring. You guys are doing the same things. Da, 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 da. And I'm an engineer. I'd like to say no, it's not boring, because there's this one scenario. My first experience with MicroTik. Sent to this international school. They told me to program a MicroTik on their network. Guys, it took me 3 days. 3 days. And the reason why is because I found out some other teachers also had their own routers on the network giving out DHCP. Like, I just wanted to sound intelligent and prove to you guys that I'm an engineer. If I mention DHCP, everyone who has been an engineer knows what I'm talking about. So let me stop there. Habib, what keeps you going? Because a lot of the times engineers are not recognized. Yeah, I mean, see the knowledge he has given us today, the bytes you've also given us today. However, when it comes to the global perspective, engineers of today are really not recognized. So what keeps you guys going to actually continue developing technologies? I mean, if we look at Uganda today, not everyone is utilizing 4G. But here is Airtel, and they're like, guys, yes, you're not utilizing 4G, but now we've given you 5G as well. Yeah. So what is that zeal that keeps you guys constantly and consistently innovating, even when the uptake in countries like Uganda is not that good?
Engineering is not boring.
Yeah.
Because every day in the life of an engineer poses a new challenge. Every day is never the same. Whereas it may appear you're doing the same thing. Like, the example you gave us, if, you went to hand a client with a MicroTik. If you went back the next day or went to a different client, the experience would be different. Exactly. The challenges are different.
Yeah.
And what poses that is because, technology changes. As you're trying to work on something today, something in the background somewhere in China or USA or, those developed first countries, something is being, put up. And as engineers, we have a lot to catch up. So we have to keep up, and, that keeps us going. And the interesting bit is you see things changing.
Yeah.
You see, like we've been talking about from independence and today, how things change from a landline, which could accommodate a smaller number of people and the privileged, to today having, massive, numbers of people able to use a network and conveniently, in everyone's convenience. You have to go to a post office. No, I have my phone, I can browse, I can do all these different things. I can connect with the world wherever I am, within the country or within other countries. And when you see all that, it's very interesting to see how things keep changing. Every day, for example, I'll give you an example of my perspective. I work on a generator today, but I will not experience the same problem tomorrow.
Yeah.
Even if it's a similar problem, it always poses a different challenge. So that keeps us thinking, if today I'm working on this system, what is out there in the world that makes it better to address my challenge? Any other system, MicroTiks, generators, the BTSs that we use for the telecommunications. So all these different products keep on being changed.
Yeah.
In Airtel and other telecom sectors, we usually keep on doing upgrades. We're doing swap outs. We're trying to keep up with technology because we've had 2G, then 3G, then 4G, then 5G. All these are running on different technologies, and they pose for you, like Patrick said, you have to keep upscaling your team.
Yeah.
So there's something new always rolling around, in our lives. So whereas it may appear that it's boring, our heads are always rolling. Working. When you meet an engineer, just the head is, rolling with, new things and wondering what will come and how do I put this together, the challenge I face, how do I resolve it, or what's the world coming up. So there's quite a lot that happens that really it appears boring, but it's not boring.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, you've actually reminded me of just one thing. Let me ask, on average in a year, how many wedding, meeting, WhatsApp groups do you get added to?
Quite a lot.
So, are you seeing how people long time ago had it well?
Yeah. Because that wasn't... Oh, okay.
Very true.
I'm trying to say, I think that's why weddings were pretty affordable. Because who are you going to add to our WhatsApp group to contribute for you? Oh. Yeah. It brings me to my next question, which is technology. Of course, there are some bad apples here and there using technology for the bad. But as we head into Independence Day 1962, 2024, as we head for a 60-second Independence Day, what are some of the positive ways actually Ugandans can use our 5G network, as opposed to adding people in wedding WhatsApp groups unsolicited? Guys, that is not good. So what are some of the positive attributes, or what are some of the good positive ways Ugandans can use our 5G network today, specifically maybe on Independence Day?
Education. I think there are massive opportunities with, education. Learning never stops in everyone's life. So 5G helps me to, you can easily stream, the faster speeds and all that, and then you can connect. The other technologies also do it, but 5G also brings up more, in the education sector. There's been talk on smart homes and all those, so people have opportunities of doing such, and then you're able to, promote education, have online. These days, there's a lot of Teams, Zoom.
Yeah.
People do virtual meetings than physical meetings. There's a lot that positively the 5G story, can go a long way to improve people's lives. There's talk on in the medical field, people trying to do the smart treatments, where you can certain medical instruments what are connected, in the internet.
Yeah.
Things like that. So it's quite a lot.
Patrick, any that you can share?
Also, no, we are third world, but as we strive to do industrialization, we can use our 5G technologies in areas of automation, maybe use of robots like we are seeing in advanced countries that can do much more than what an individual can do.
Okay.
Of course, it also comes with some disadvantages, things like unemployment, but still, where we can, we can take advantage of that.
Definitely.
And better our industrialization.
I think for me, there's not a day I don't use the internet.
Exactly.
There's not a day I don't use the internet, because even my alarm clock works on the internet. Yeah, like I get woken up by a podcast on a daily basis. So there's an app I use. It just measures the mood you wake up in. So I have a smartwatch. When I'm going to sleep, I sleep with a watch. So when I'm waking up, my watch will know whether I woke up on time or not, or I woke up scared, or if I had nightmares before or not. So by the time I wake up at 7 a.m., my phone knows what to play for me to set the mood. You see, people see me Airtel gallivanting. They're like, how is this guy always happy? It is because I'm using 5G positively, not to add people in WhatsApp wedding. But for me, that's how my life is. But how are you applying 5G in your life today?
In my life today, I think it makes my connectivity much, much faster. Yeah. Things I used to take hours to do, I can just do instantly in just a few seconds. I can do downloads of content. I can, if you look at entertainment, gone are the days you have to go burn a CD and just watch online.
Oh my God, PCDJ.
And you have a very good experience. So
it was Nero. That was the platform. Nero, right?
Yes.
Nero CD banner.
Nero CD banner.
And then you'd go to that guy who used to burn CDs, and then they put 20 CDs and then they burned. Oh my God.
And even before the CDs came, we used to have that, they called what? Cassette tape? Those radios that if you want to rewind a song, you put a pen. Such things. If you tell our children of today, they imagine like, we've come a long way.
Let me tell you guys a funny story. So my mom had a collection of country music. She had a Dolly Parton tape. She had a Kenny Rogers, Don Williams. I knew ABBA. I knew all those guys. So this one time, I'm listening to radio, but I want to record this new song. I can't remember. I think it was Chameleon's... I can't tell whether it was Mamma Mia or it was... all I know is it was a Chameleon song.
Dorothea.
Yeah? It can't be Dorothea. Because I couldn't pronounce Dorothea. I had an S.
Yes.
So I couldn't pronounce T. Yeah.
Right.
But I get her cassette, her Dolly Parton cassette, I remember properly, and I record over it. I record a chameleon song over it. So this one time she's hosting guests and she's like, let me play for you, so, calm music, Dolly. So she puts in the cassette. Guys, up to now, I remember how hot that beating was.
Yes.
Yeah.
She couldn't spare you for
What?
that. Who allowed you to do that?
And it is from then that she told me, you have to become an engineer because you're either spoiling my things or just you're playing around. For her, she took it as this boy wants to learn. Yes, let me punish him for using my cassette, but at least he knows how to record. Because it just puzzled her, how did you put chameleon on my tape? She's like, you have to become an engineer. And that's how I ended up becoming a telecom engineer. Okay. But as we summarize, I want you guys to paint for me. I mean, you've painted for me a picture of 62 years ago. But now I want you to paint for me a picture of 62 years in the future. I don't know whether people will be watching this podcast 62 years in the future. But if you are watching... Man, if what we are saying is true, we were prophets. We were prophets of our time and people slept on us. But let me start with you, Habib. How do you think technology is going to be, or Airtel is going to be 62 years in future?
I can imagine there's going to be possibly handless devices.
Yeah.
That means there's going to be a lot of... possibly we'll see people typing in space.
Yeah.
People answering phone calls by just a smaller. So devices possibly are going to be smaller and much convenient for people to use. I just put my phone or earpiece and that's the phone itself, and I just tap on it or start speaking, and I then see this screen I can pull out. Even computers and laptops. I imagine there's going to be a lot of sophistication. There's going to be, we're now talking about 5G.
Yeah.
What generation will be there in terms of technologies? Possibly a higher generation, much faster. There's going to be a lot of smart homes. This whole Alexa, Mo and all of that.
Yeah.
People will make their life easier. Like you said, in your own life, if you wake up, your mood is, started by, this technology, or your phone, and then, certain music is played. There's really going to be quite a lot of sophistication and making people's life easier in all sectors, education, industry, medical. I can really imagine transport system, things are going to really improve.
Yeah.
Of course, that also betters people's lives, although as we know, technology also comes with sophistication as well.
Exactly. Patrick?
Yeah, I think Habib has put it wholesomely. Sophisticated technology will be in place. And I look at what's happening today in the industry in the military, for example.
Yeah.
If you listen to what's happening in those countries, you just sit and press a button and things are happening the other side.
Yeah.
Your enemy is being brought down. And
just like that.
Yeah, so I think technology is going to drive each and everything in the industries, different industries. And maybe people will be lazy. we will not be hustling because you'll just sit in one place and do your orders or put the commands. Because everything will be a press of, I don't know whether it will be a button or you will just mention something and through your audio actions are taking place. I don't know. But those are the imaginations I have.
For me, I don't even think we'll be on Earth anymore. I think we probably would have colonized or beginning to colonize a new planet, probably Mars, because as I can understand, we've already made the first tour trip to space. There's a billionaire, I think a week or so ago. He's the first person to go in space just to chill. Yes, not to experiment, not to find out what, but this guy went just to chill and show people that, guys, if you have your money, you can actually come up here and take a selfie with everyone, whether they want or not. Yeah.
And because technology will have advanced, it will make it easier. What we see today is not possible. Like what you talk about, the whole interaction of Earth and space and other planets. It will make it easy for exploration of other planets. We don't know how much that will be. But like you say, maybe we'll have colonized them because people are able to.
Yeah.
traveling to space has challenges now, but maybe then they would no longer be challenges because of technology.
So my prophecy is it's 62 years now. It's like we are 62 years away from today. We are beginning to colonize Mars. I don't know whether Africans will be permitted, but we are just beginning to colonize Mars. We are beginning to set up an ecosystem. And by then, humans have actually realized how dangerous technology can get and how dangerous, how dangerous it is not to take care of our environment. So I think in our new colony, wherever we will be, we might have probably gone back to using either landlines or just an easier form of technology that is going to harm that planet less. I actually think in 62 years from now, we probably will be where we were 62 years ago. Yes.
Learning from, you mean learning from destroying planet
Exactly.
Earth and then
Yeah.
colonizing another planet and then, learning from the past mistakes to make it better.
Now we know that producing lithium-ion batteries is going to damage the planet in the long run. So if you have your landline, just come, watch that podcast those guys recorded 62 years ago, route the phone, and make your phone call. So yeah, guys, that will be all today. Thank you so much, Patrick. Thank you so much, Habib, for your nuggets. I am sure every Gen Z watching this has learned something. Whether you've written or not, you have definitely learned something. And for those of you watching it today, thank you so much for your time. For those of you watching it 62 years in the future, I told you so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.